Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Luz Cabrales, and I'm the co-founder of the Independent Film Creative Hub, as well as Scranton Films.
Hi, everyone. My name is Desiree Zelinsky. I'm also the co-founder of the Independent Film Creative Hub. I also run NEPA Film Society, a local filmmaking community here in Northeast Pennsylvania, and I'm also the organizer of the Mystery Box Film Challenge.
We're very excited to be bringing you Scranton Talks through our social media platforms, and actually for the first time live on air on ECTV channel 19. Woohoo! We'll be announcing more content soon, and we invite all creators around the area to reach out to Desiree and I through our independent creative hub because we want to grow the creative and filmmaking industry in our beautiful and thriving area. And ECTV has given us a platform to make this happen. We're going to work very hard in the next few months or years, whatever it takes, to just bring that filmmaking industry here, because we know that it's already here. We have a lot of talented filmmakers and creatives, but this is our time. So I'll let Desiree introduce our guest for today.
Yeah, for tonight's Grand Talk, we have Tony Susi here with us.
Woo.
Welcome, Tony. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me. It's super exciting.
Well, to give everyone a little bit of background about Tony, Tony is a local filmmaker here in Northeast PA. He is an art director, designer, filmmaker. He makes funky projects of all shapes and sizes. His most recent films include The Restaurant, which won Best of Show in 2020 for the Mystery Box Film Challenge, and he also participated in the challenge again with Johan, a retrospective by Todd Flynn, which both can be seen on the Mystery Box YouTube channel. So be sure to check that out.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, we're very happy that you're here with us, Tony. Tony and I have been longtime friends for a while, and I have seen him grow throughout these years with his design work, filmmaking, and we're just so happy that he can help us kick off this episode. And technically, we're on episode number 4, so you can catch it on our social media. We'll give you all that at the end. But for now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna play Tony's demo reel. It is one of the latest demo reel where he could showcase everything that he does, and then we're gonna just talk more about it and dissect basically his creative process and his journey. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Ok. Ce qu'il nous faut pour commencer, c'est une poêle bien profonde, à feu très doux, vous enverrez 3 gousses d'ail en offrande. Une cuillère en bois est nécessaire pour ne rien rayer du fond de la poêle. À saisir lentement, longanise, boudin, l'art et gourmandise. Les retirer sans trop tarder. 4 verres de semoule, les faire dorer. Dans un verre d'eau, les séparer. 2 heures seront nécessaires pour qu'apparaissent les boulettes. Continuez de remuer. Continuez de remuer. Continuez de remuer. Sur France Culture, vous l'entendez. C'est bientôt l'heure d'arrêter. Coupez le gaz. Montez le son. Et servez vos migasses de mille. Avec amour, dégustez-les.
Wow, that was great, Tony. We see a lot of great potential with you, a lot of design work and a lot of film work. So we're going to get started again. The way we have our conversations here, they're very, very laid back. We want you to feel comfortable here because, we're all filmmakers. we're all artists trying to do some great stuff. But let's talk a little bit about your demo reel. Maybe we can get started there, because that really gives us a full picture of what you do,
Yeah,
and then we'll go from there. So go ahead.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that's been like it's not quite, it's not outdated, it's from last year, but that's like a combination of everything that I love, from the design work that I do, the film work, the client work, the personal work. It's just all smushed into one big thing that makes it, hopefully makes what I do exciting, and because it is exciting, and just colorful, and has the madness of the animation and
Right.
design and directing that I really love. I love like the combination of everything, how you can, especially as a director and designer, how you can interact with like so many different skill sets of other people and collaborate with them, but then also like take everything, I have a little bit of a knowledge in a lot of things, and how to take that and just like combine it into projects. And that's the culmination of that in the demo reel that we just saw. So yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, that is very great, very good. So as far as the design stuff that you do, right? We're gonna get a little bit into the design first, and Desiree is actually a designer herself, so I'm very excited that she can talk a little bit more about that, and then just that process, how you got started with the design part, and your your evolution when it comes to being an artist.
Yeah, I feel like Tony and I are kind of like the same. Well, we're both graphic designers, and your work is very impressive. I'm just curious, were you like a designer first? Because for me, I went to school for graphic design, then found my interest in film, but always had an interest in film. Or is it like, were you a designer first, then got into filmmaking, or was it the other way around?
Yeah, it was kind of the other way around. It's like weird because it's like steps and like eras of like doing stuff. I've always loved film, and since like literally the age of 5, I've always loved like Star Wars and then Lord of the Rings. And as early as I can remember, I've been watching like special features. So like that kind of, I loved it growing up, made all these like silly short films with like my cat and my friends and my cousins, pulling them in and being like, do this short film with the cat, or do this thing with action figures. So like for like the years of like 5 to 15, I was making all these silly little short films. And then I kind of, as like college started to approach, I was like, well, I don't know if I want to go to film school necessarily, because I feel like I need more of a grounding in like the visual aspect of it. And actually Luz has been a great influence on me, because at those last couple of years of high school, Luz kind of helped me like hone my art and design skills, so that I was able to apply to design school once I graduated. Well, before I graduated, and get into Kutztown University, which is in the Lehigh Valley. So I went to school there for 4 years for graphic design and advertising, and that helped complement the like interest I had in film. And then it kind of just fused a little bit. Graduated in 2015 and started working as an art director in the day job, and then also making short films on the side, and then also applying that to some of the video work, a lot of the video work that we did at the agency I was at. So it's kind of always been this combination of things. I was at that agency for a couple of years, and then went freelance, and also freelance in terms of working on local film sets and local commercial shoots and short films. So like that progression just kept going, and I've never lost that love of Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. Even to this day, it just has expanded into hopefully a little bit more of a broader palette of like, maybe Michel Gondry films and Wes Anderson and a lot of other things. It's not just like just that anymore, but that kind of put me on the trajectory to like just making things. And then like I kind of don't distinguish sometimes whether it's a piece of design or a piece of motion or film animation. It all feels very much the same to me. So it's like using the design eye and composition and layout to apply to when you're shooting something and writing something. Like my mind works in like this amalgam and sometimes chaotic madness in the process of doing things. So it's kind of how that went about. The short of it for 15-20 years of making stuff.
No,
Yeah, it seems like a lot of things that go hand in hand. I do see like graphic design and film go hand in hand, even if it's like there are graphic designers who work in the film industry as a crew basis, but like everything complements each other. I do see that.
yeah, I mean that's really the great thing about filmmaking, right? That at least what I love about it is that we can incorporate so much of everything in in this world. Any profession can really be part of the filmmaking process. And I think a lot of people don't know that design makes is a big part in filmmaking. Everything we see, everything we as we drive and see billboards in the magazines, we're seeing creative work everywhere, you know. And
Yeah.
you know, sometimes, you know, it's made to be in your face, you know, but it is
Yeah.
still design. And I think that that creativity that you're taking is really a great thing, because now you know how you have to have certain things, how they have to look, and what people should feel when they actually see them,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, it's a great melting pot of everything. So like with design, you get like this idea of composition and color and aesthetics. And then with film, it's like then there's story structure and plot and character. And it's like just smashing it all together and making this thing. I mean, it's super exciting because I feel like I said, film and like any type of motion work is like the culmination of all the creative fields thrown in, like writing and, you know, painting and shooting film, and then like, you know, using type in the titles. Like you can literally do anything that is artistically related and throw it into a film in some fashion. So like that kind of aspect has always really excited me. It makes me think like film and like motion is basically like the pinnacle, the culmination of like all these artistic mediums, and it's exciting. You know, it's exciting to always dip your toe into it.
Right. Well, okay, so now let's backtrack, right? And we're gonna talk a little bit about that journey. You pretty much summed it all up. You know, you said, you know, I have the design process, I have the filmmaking, I had it when I was, you know, a child. I wanted to do all this stuff.
Mm.
So let's bring Tony Susi back to when he started college, right? You say you went to Kutztown University, correct?
Yep. Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, maybe someone out there is watching and saying, you know what, I want to do this. I want to be involved in filmmaking. I want to be involved in design, but I don't know how. So let's give them a little bit of that and what you felt when you were going through that process.
Yeah, it was good because like in order to get into the program at Kutztown, you needed to do an art test, which Luz helped me with. Helped me, like, just was great at critiquing and being like, you know, running ideas and comps and concepts. So you had to do an art test of 3 projects to get in. And it didn't just have to be executed well or drawn well or painted well. It had to have an idea behind it. So like that was one of the first notions of like, it's visuals with ideas that tell a story, that communicate, which is basically all that design is. It's visuals communicating. So it's all about communication. And then that very much leads into storytelling. So when I got to Kutztown, it was like I started to do like the early intro drawing and 3D design courses and understanding like, okay, it's always about thinking about the details and the big picture and the concept and what you're trying to say with this piece of art, this visual. So that like was 4 years of that, and figuring out how to just continue to refine the technical skills and your concept skills. So it was that sort of constantly getting better, which I love. Like as long as you're trying to always improve your skill sets, like the quantity of stuff isn't necessarily important, the quality is, but sometimes doing a lot of it and having a large quantity gets you to the quality aspect. So just making stuff and learning new things and learning new techniques is like massively important, and trying things and seeing what sticks against the wall and like seeing, oh, maybe this didn't work, but I learned this one little thing and I'll apply it to the next thing I do. Like that was a constant, the 4 years at Kutztown in design school was a constant progression and changing. And then also the whole concept of like collaborators and working with other students, not just on projects, but just being like, what do you think of this? How could it be better? Because pretty much from day one in design school or any type of art school, you have critiques. And it's a very humbling moment of like, you do a drawing and everybody puts their drawings up on the wall the next day and everybody talks about them for 2 or 3 hours, which was insane to me. But it's like, you get this constant feedback loop of your peers, of teachers, and then you put it up in the hallway, then other people who are just random from wherever say stuff about it, and you just, not that you could let it like get you down, but it's still that constructive criticism aspect. And then it's like, okay, I'll take that in. Yes, that's good advice. No, that's not so good or what I was going for, so I won't take that. And you just apply it to the next thing. And it was a good like foundation for going into design as a career, and then like also filmmaking, because it's so collaborative. So like working on the Mystery Box films, which have been like the 2 main film projects I've done the last 2 years, which is awesome because it makes you like, sometimes I'm bad with deadlines for myself because with my day job, I do have deadlines like multiple times a day. But with like my own personal projects, having the Mystery Box was like, we need to get it done by now. And we got the assignment now. So like I was able to take general ideas I had for short films and be like, no, this might work for the Mystery Box. Okay, let's wrap all the Mystery Box elements into it and then do this thing. And that's what we did last year with the restaurant. And the whole idea of like gathering collaborators, actors, Luz helped and did the sound last year. So like there's this whole thing of like wrangling the talent and the resources and then like making something and having it done by a date because you need to get it done, put it out there, submit it, and then move on to the next one. Like you have to just constantly be making the stuff, and that constant process makes you it makes you basically a professional, but like a working artist, so that you have that process. And it's not like, oh, I have an idea block, or I have like brain block or writer's block, or I can't do. It's like, no, you gotta like just do it, like, and do something, and it might not be bad, might not be good. Come back the next day, figure out why it's not good, and then make it better. Like, you know, it's just that constant thing. Same thing with film, and like editing is that loop for me too, of like you edit something, I always have a crazy long cut. Like the short film for the mystery box had to be 10 minutes. The first cuts were like 17 minutes, 20 minutes. Then it was down to 15. Then it was down to 13. Then it finally got down to 10. I was aiming for 9, but you know, like
So
it's always
right.
the cutting back, you know?
So for people that don't know what the mystery box is, right? Let's talk a little bit more about that, which you already you know, sort of like started introducing.
Yeah.
That's right. Tell us more about the mystery box, because that's a big event that happens here every year, and we want to keep it that way. And then we'll go into because Tony, I believe you were an award winner for 2020, so we'll talk a little bit about that.
True, yeah.
But I'll let you introduce that, Desiree. That since we started talking about that, it's a perfect in.
Yeah, so the Mystery Box Film Challenge, like I always say, it's a film challenge for anyone who loves to make films. We're in partnership with the Northeast Pennsylvania Film Festival. That's been about 7 years running, the challenge. And what the Mystery Box Film Challenge is, filmmakers have about 2 months to make a short film that's about 10 minutes long. And they receive items and prompts that they have to use in their film. Like they get a character name, a line of dialogue, a specific shot type, a prompt that they have to use. So it's kind of like everyone gets the same thing, but it's kind of interesting to see at the end of it, which at the end, if anyone submits a film to the challenge, they premiere at the Northeast Pennsylvania Film Festival whenever that happens. So it's just really interesting because everyone gets all the same items that they have to use, kind of like Chopped on Food Network. It's kind of like that, but it's for filmmakers. Everyone gets the same kind of thing, but they all have completely different films. Like they take it in completely different directions, which is pretty amazing. And we do give out an award for Best of Show. Tony did get Best of Show in 2020 for the restaurant film. But it's a really great film challenge, and it's for anyone who loves to make films. It's just a great catalyst. If someone wants to even get started in filmmaking, or if you're a professional and you want to do something fun and creative, it's a great challenge to get involved. And we're on Film Freeway now. All the dates are there. And we're going to kick off the challenge this year for 2022 on September 1st.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're actually getting ready for that. We're gonna do a nice little promo for you guys, so you can see, what this year's box has. But we'll backtrack to the film that you did for the mystery box, and
Cool.
we'll focus on that a little bit, just to see. I know you already talked about it, but for that particular one, how do you go from the design aspect and to start a film, right? Now, I know that the mystery box was a challenge, right? So tell us more about the process there that you had to do, right? From the beginning of you starting to write something. Like what was the biggest challenge, I guess?
Right. The mystery box last year was great because, like, again, it's perfect because, like Desiree said, it's a catalyst to get you to make something. So like you're like, oh, I'm busy and I have all these excuses, but then it's like, no, there's a deadline. Here's the things, just do it. And the personalities of the filmmakers get into it too, in terms of, it's also great because it's like all different ranges, somebody who's making their first film or their 50th film, like there's a range of people, but the person who made the first film, that film might have more heart. So I hadn't made a film in like 2 years. And then last year that came along. I was like, I'm doing the mystery box, and Liz is like, okay, but you got to finish it. So I was like, okay, fine. So we got all the ingredients, and I'm always like collecting ideas and writing down notes, and my notebooks are all crazy because there's like film idea from like 10 years ago, and it's like, oh, that might be interesting. But I went to a local Chinese restaurant near me, like probably a year before the mystery box. I was like, it might be cool to shoot something here at some point. And then like the mystery box came up, and I'm like, aha, this is the opportunity. So that previously I wrote all these like ideas for things, scrapped them. I'm like, okay, this is what the story is going to be. And it was basically like this kind of like cyberpunk noir thriller thing where somebody comes in and they have to do a pickup of this technological deal. So like, I don't want to give too much away, but it's like, it's kind of very noir-y. So it's like, all right, let's go in that direction. Let's kind of really delve into like you know, sci-fi subtle things. Okay, we got a tone. Okay, now I got to write the thing. And it's like, you got to write it fast and you got to make it out, get it out there. And it's like, okay, that's okay. But then rewrite it. So like rewriting it and getting into that. And it's like, okay, now we got to start pre-production because we only have 2 months. So then it's like gathering actors, and one of our actors actually dropped out like days before. So we had to get another actor, Mike Petit. He came in and like the day before swoop in as like there's 2 people in the movie. He was half of the movie, essentially. The second lead, I guess, because Penelope was our first lead. But so it was like, oh, it's like this constant changing. Like my whole thing is, because I don't have a producer's mindset naturally, so like wrangling the assets of all the people, the skills, the equipment, the lighting, make sure the location is good. We only had the location for the restaurant that we were shooting in from like 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. and I wish I said 10 p.m. because it would have been better, but that's fine. Like they were closed that day and they were more than willing and generous to be like, yeah, we'll give you these 5 hours for free. Like they were just incredibly nice at that Chinese restaurant in Jessup. So like wrangling all the assets, get everybody together, getting kind of like some rehearsal in, and then just going for it. We literally had 4 hours to shoot most of it, and then we shot the rest like in a half a day after. So it was kind of a flurry of everything, and then like the cutting and getting it together, and like I said, getting it down to, it's like this needs to be under 10 minutes. I had it like a 15-minute cut, a 13-minute cut, a 10-minute cut, and then I think it ended up being like 7 minutes. And Luz helped kind of say like, before she was involved with the mystery box last, she's like, you might cut here or there, you know, and bring it down. So like that collaboration is always super exciting, and it's always a collaboration through every step of the process. It's a collaboration with the actors when you're on set and going through lines and try the line this way or that way. It's a collaboration. I shot that one, so it was like a collaboration with myself to figure out where the camera is going to be, how it's going to transition to the next shot. And I think about all those things to the point where I overthink them, and sometimes you just got to like try it, and if it doesn't work,
right,
review it on the day, or you'll figure out it doesn't work in the edit. So it's like, you know, that's just the evolving process. Everything's always moving, and it could be very hectic. And I have this term that Luz laughs at me about, but you do fly by the seat of your pants a little bit, even as much as you plan. But if you plan more, then you're able to find like fun little things to change and evolve on. So yeah, as you're making the thing,
great.
which is exciting.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with Tony's The Restaurant film, and I think if anyone was watching here, it's like, okay, it's kind of like, how did you find your casting crew? I know there's a lot of people here who make films, and they're like, how am I going to find an actor? How am I going to find crew? Like, what were your tools that you used to find your casting crew? Was it like, I just know people? Or did you like maybe go to like maybe the Philly Film Office and look for people?
Because that's sometimes the hardest part, you know, trying to find the right people. So
and your crew, finding crew members as well.
That crew was so small, it was like 2 people. It was Luz, who I made do the sound, and then me, who I did the camera. I actually love that, but it is necessary to have more people for bigger scale projects. As far as casting, we worked with both actors previously, me and Luz. So like I kind of knew, I was like, this part is sort of your personality. I went to both actors and was like, you know, would you want to do it? And I tried to make it like with parts that I know for local actors or people I know, it's like I try and write the part a little bit to what their personality is already. That way they don't have to do much acting and there's less workshopping on the day. So that's kind of how that happened. I've never done like a full scale like rehearsal process, but casting process where it's like, okay, we have these 10 people, they're going to come in and read. I'm going to read with them. We'll evaluate. We'll talk about the part. Like I've never done a full casting process like that because everybody has been kind of a, oh, you're a great person, let's work together type of aspect. So it's like, you know, oh, I'm writing this next project. I think you'd be great for it. And that's how everything's evolved. But I would eventually love to do a full casting process and reach out, you know, whether it's in our area or the Philly Film Office of like, is there any actors, or even on like backstage? I haven't done that yet. I've worked with a friend my friend Spencer, who made a short film in the Philly area, and he did that process. And I went and actually saw people come in and read with them for their casting. And it was a really fun process, just that I've never done it. So like maybe on the next one, hopefully on the next one, we'll be doing that. So
yeah, I think it was that Bridget and I actually did the film challenge in 2017 for our film. And it was the wonderful film community we have in Northeast PA. You know everyone, and everyone was doing the challenge, and everyone was filming the same month. Yeah. So we were looking for actors outside the area. So we used the film office in Philadelphia to look for put a casting notice on the Philly film office, and we did get a lot of responses, like sending us a video of reading the part they wanted. And our one actress actually came all the way from Philadelphia to help with us, and she was amazing. And everyone had so much fun on set. And speaking of having fun on set, were there any funny moments on set that happened? Which I'm sure usually, like, we always ask if there were obstacles. So were there any funny moments that happened?
The whole thing was an obstacle. The time barrier was an obstacle. The thing, no, it was good. The whole thing was just making sure everything was right. Like, one of our actors got there later, so we didn't quite have as much. I had to shoot because it's a two-handed conversation, so it's like two people talking. And I tried to be very formal with it and shoot coverage of like a wide of the whole thing, a medium of the whole thing, and then one shot with each person. So, but we ended up starting with the actor who got there first. We shot all of his coverage without the other actor there, and I was like, I know your performance is going to be as much as you, but I'll try and we'll do it again if she gets here in time. Like, it was okay. And he did fantastic, actually. Like, even without the other actor to play off of for the whole thing, we did his one shot, got that pretty much done. Then she came and we did everything else. So like, that was a challenge, making sure there was a camera move that I had in there that was like this spinning camera move of like, as there was a fight commencing, it would spin around. It would actually like pan around the whole thing and kind of be this slow, like guttural, visceral, I had planned in my head. And it was going to be it wasn't going to cut, but then I had a reflection in the one glass and I was like, oh, it's not going to work.
Well,
so like, that was a challenge. Yeah, that was a challenge that it's like, I didn't think about, so it's like, and then we shot a scene outside for like that half-day shoot after that. And it was like, this was like January, because I think everything was due in February or like mid-February last year. So like, we ended up, it was an outdoor scene. Everybody was dressed pretty well. Like, everybody had full clothes on, but it started to rain and then it started to kind of snow and it was icy and we had a scene outside and we had umbrellas and then it was, at some point it was just like, I think the actor's cold. So like, let's try and go a little bit faster. It's like, I was like, but I want 5 more shots. And she's like, maybe get them really fast. So then like, so there's always like, if you're not hit up by time barriers, you're hit up by weather barriers and obstacles that you got to try and, but it's all about like trying to figure out like, what's the creative solution to the thing that's facing me right now in the moment. And that's sort of, even in my, micro budget level of filmmaking, that's kind of always been the case. And I feel like I hear directors who have like $150 million budgets who say that's the case too. So that's something that you're just not gonna escape,
Yeah,
so.
no, I mean, having an obstacle, I think is what's gonna make your next film better, right? Because then you're gonna
100%.
learn about what you're doing right now and how you can make it better. I mean, you touched on quite a few things that were like perfect, as far as like, you have to have a good relationship with the actors. You have to have a good relationship with even if they're your friends, you need to make sure they're gonna show up. They're gonna show up to make the film. They're gonna show up to help you out. Because a lot of times, we're making we're making projects and we're not paying people. We're giving them lunch.
Yeah.
We're giving them a little bit of that. So you have to have that relationship. So basically
there is that difference between excited friends and reliable friends.
Correct. And
but yeah.
No, you're right. I think that's the biggest obstacle, just being able to know that, you have a passion for something, you want to do it, and following through is going to be the biggest, because anything can happen in between, right? But to give that, we have a question right from the audience, and let's touch on that just to kind of make it a little bit different, because I do want to talk about the next film that you did after this, and just because I want to show it at the end of this stream, where people get to see the one that you did after. Okay. So Kyle Santos actually just said he will shoot for coffee and a bagel. So pretty much, as people are willing and they're ready to go,
it happens.
Exactly.
Feeding people is very important. If you take anything away, feeding people is very important.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we have a question that says, Tony, who are your 3 directors who have influenced you the most?
It changes throughout the years, but like right now, it's like, well, it used to be like George Lucas and Peter Jackson, and they're still very much the top. But right now, it's Taika Waititi of Thor Ragnarok and What We Do in the Shadows and Boy and Hunt for the Wilder People. He's like my favorite director right now, just because he has this like weird, bonkers, personality that is, and flavor that's infused in his work. I love Michel Gondry work. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is amazing and one of my favorite films of all time. And then Christopher Nolan. So like, yes, I'm kind of basic in that sense of Christopher Nolan, the director's director, basically.
Oh, everybody
Uh,
likes Christopher Nolan.
but The Prestige is one of my favorite films of
Mhm.
all time. And that was one of the first films that like expanded my mindset outside of Lord of the Rings and Star Wars.
Right.
You know, I watched that in 2006 when it came out at the ripe young age of 13 and was like, oh my goodness, films can be that too. Like my mind exploded, and then I like watched it 9 other times. I'm gonna be like a cheat and say I also love the Coen brothers too, but like they're not top 3. But I love them. Like No Country for Old Men is also, that was another one I was like, I didn't know a movie could be like that. And then I immediately rewatched it like right after I watched it the first time. So like, yeah, those are the top 3.5, 4, you know. So those are the main. Yeah.
So we're getting close to the end here, but I wanna, before we leave, let's talk a little bit about, okay, so now you have made the mystery box that you did first, which was the restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
which we're not gonna show the full movie today, but it is on your website, which is tonysusi.com.
Yep.
Correct? And we're gonna show
Yes.
that screen at the end as well. Now you're in, okay, so you did that, and now 2020 really, like the new mystery box that was really
Yes.
2021, because we had like a little bit of a mishap
Yeah.
in there with the pandemic, but you did another film, and you did it through a pandemic as well. So let's talk
Yes.
briefly about that, because we don't have a lot of time, but just to
Okay.
be able to show the film at the end.
Yeah.
What was the main difference between the two of them, creatively? Like what you saw and how you saw your, how you got better, basically.
Yeah, I did see how I got better. Not that I'm fantastic, but for the second one, the whole thing was this like expansion on collaboration, because I met previously, like kind of in between the restaurant and the mystery box. I met a great local filmmaker named Zach Wilcox, shout out, which eventually he'll be on here. He's a cinematographer, gaffer. He's written and directed real films that had real budgets, and he was a gaffer on a local commercial that we worked on, and we worked on a couple of them together. And at some point before the mystery box for this year came about, he's like, what are you doing the mystery box? If yes, I want to shoot it. Like that was just how it came about. And that was in like December or January, and we talked about it, and we were like stayed separate for forever, and like just talked about it via Zoom. And then it's like, all right, we got to meet. So we eventually came into each other's pods as we prepped the film, and then shot it in February really. And it was fantastic to work with the cinematographer and really a full-on collaborator, because I did the script, I showed it to him, he's like, great. And then we shot it, and then there was editing and color that we went back and forth with. It was a true collaborative process, and we've been making stuff since January. Like we shot a short documentary on a local actor who we're editing right now. We shot a short film in like 4 hours a month ago that we put together and just shot it, so we're constantly making stuff, and that it's like ignited a level of collaboration with a fellow like filmmaker who has more experience than me, but is still willing to collaborate on my same level. And like, I feel like we both make each other better because we have different skill sets, and we're thinking about different things. So that was the thing that came with this. Additionally, we worked with an actor named Nathan Zonlo, who's also a local actor, and there was all this improvisation that came along with it. So I wrote a very tight script, not super tight because it was 13 pages and need to be 10 minutes, but there was a ton of improvisation that happened with him because we wanted the character to be very flowing. It was a mockumentary style piece. So we're like, we'll just do these interviews and we'll just run them long and just add what you want. And all that stuff, a lot of that stuff got in. The best bits of the film ended up being improvised parts. So that was the thing, like, okay, more collaboration with the actors and like figuring out how they want to own the role, what the character is going to be, and like that really deep workshopping while you're shooting it. So that was the main thing. And then just putting it together. And then the new experience was last year, the viewing was all on Facebook Live because of the pandemic. This year, it was actually in front of a live audience, and it was up on a big screen. So it's like, stars in our eyes as it was up there, and that was super exciting. So
yeah, we were very excited.
It's a fantastic thing.
We were very excited because we got a whole bunch of films, and this is the first time that I also collaborate with Desiree to try to bring the mystery box. And I think just to see the filmmakers and their hard work, just putting it all out there on the screen, I think it made a difference. And it's good that you mentioned that, because there is a difference between Facebook Live and having it on a big screen. But I think the work is the same. You have to put in the work, whether you have it on a small screen or a big screen.
For sure.
But if Desiree doesn't have any more questions, then we usually do something at the end before we ask the main question at the end before we end the stream. But I'll leave it
Drum
up to
roll.
Desiree if she's wondering anything about Tony Susi, you know.
Well, with the mystery box, I mean, it was such a great turnout in April. We did both. It was live in person at the festival in April of this year, and we did it live stream because of the pandemic. And I'm just curious if like people's like, how did you work with making a film in the pandemic? I'm sure because Luce and I did a film as well with the mystery box, and it was just thinking a whole nother way of thinking of like, how do we keep people safe? And what was your thinking about like, how am I going to make this during a pandemic?
Yeah, we definitely wrote for the sense of like there's maybe one shot in the whole film that there's two people, well, there's like 2 or 3 people, and we made sure everybody was very much like, even though like not everybody was vaccinated, some people were, we made sure they were vaccinated, everybody wore masks, everybody was distanced even if we were inside, we kept the sets closed, you know, there was a ton that we thought into, and we were constantly thinking of like just keeping everybody safe and okay as we were going along the process. You know, just especially because like, you know, we had actors of all different ages with it too, so like we really tried to just as much as possible, like again, me and Zach came into each other's pods, we were all very much like trying to be aware of where our interactions would be out in the world, and then like afterwards everybody basically isolated for the 2 weeks after shooting just in case, you know, there was no instances of any type of COVID. We took temperatures on set, like we tried to follow as much protocol as possible that was available at the time from bigger sets, but just in our microcosm of a micro budget film. So like we were very aware of what was going on and just tried to build the story a little bit around that because it was incorporated into the story a bit, and then also just build our approach to shooting everything around that, so that there isn't
Right.
you know 10 people in a shot.
And how did that?
Because that's just unnecessary.
How did that change your creative approach? I mean, I'm sure you had a plan, and maybe you had to like fix it up here and there because not just the pandemic, just because you were making a film. You know, that's right there is, you know, hard enough.
Yeah, it just made you like constantly even more hyper aware that it's like just be flexible. Just be flexible. Okay, we're not going to get these 5 shots. Let's try and do it in 2-1, or like, you know, like try and do a 1, or you know, like, okay, we only have this person, you know, or oh, this person might not feel fully comfortable doing this thing. Like, that's fine. We'll redo it in this way. Like it's just always trying to be listening to what your crew and cast are telling you. You know, again, this was a small one. There was never more than 4 people or 5 people, I guess, shooting at once. And so it was just keeping it small and like not intimate, but you know, close knit. So
right. No.
Felt that they could communicate if they were, you know, feeling uncomfortable, or not that anybody did, but if they were feeling uncomfortable or like they thought something, everybody was able to speak up basically, and harbor and fostering that environment. So it wasn't like a, you know, people didn't feel like they were being forced to do something they didn't want to do.
Right,
you know?
right. Well, you know,
so
that's very important, definitely. So okay, so we are running a little bit out of time. We don't want to make this too long so people can actually watch it. We want to make sure to ask you one last question though, okay? Because again, how I mentioned before, you know, there might be people here that are you know, seasoned filmmakers watching, and there might be people that are, you know, that are trying to be filmmakers. Maybe they don't know how to get started, right? You talked about your journey. Everybody's journey is completely different, but at one point I think we all kind of have something in common, which is our creativity and our, you know, drive to make something, right? And so what advice would you give to an up and coming filmmaker or filmmakers? You know, maybe there's a few.
I mean, it's so cliche, but it's just like, go make something, you know, kind of go make something and be flexible while you're making it. You either go make something like right now, you know, do it, shoot it in a day by yourself with friends, whatever, shoot it in a day, edit it in a day, get it done. If you feel like, you know, you don't have self-motivation to do that, then sign up for the mystery box for next year and do it, because that's going to give you a deadline and you're going to be, you know, have more responsibility. So I hate to be the plug for the mystery box, but it's really been super great for the last 2 years. So,
we love that.
But yeah, it's kind of just make it. Like, you have these ideas in your head to a degree, actually to a huge degree. It doesn't matter if they're good when you finish them. You finish them, you learn something. The next one will be better. Correct. You know, like, it doesn't matter if it's good. It's cool. There's a lot of crazy dumb things out in the world. Make your crazy dumb thing. Like, that's sort of the
that's good.
woo piece of creative inspiration advice I'd say. Some of the stupid, like we like Johan, the thing we did last year, it's so stupid, it's silly, it's dumb, but like I like making it. I think it's fun to watch. Sometimes that's that's
enough.
I think more than me, but sometimes that's enough too. So
well, that's gonna make you better for the next one, and it's just gonna continue. And it doesn't mean that the first one was bad. It just means that you learn something that you can bring to the table. But all right, well, Desiree will do a wrap up, and then we'll actually hold on. Before I do that, thank you, Tony. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I mean, we're very excited to be sharing these stories with everyone. And again, Tony. TonySusi.com, where you can watch his demo reel again, and you can see some of the stuff he does around the area. Maybe hire him as well to do some like cool movies. You never know who you're gonna meet. But Desiree will wrap up our episode for today, and then at the end I'll put in the movie. So if anyone wants to stick around, how long is the movie, Tony?
Which one are you showing?
Johan's.
10 minutes exactly.
10 minutes exactly. All right, perfect. That should give us the hour for this episode. So all right, thank you, Tony.
I just want to say too, thanks so much for doing this. Like the whole collaboration that's going on in the area with like all the filmmakers doing stuff, supporting each other, making projects. It's really exciting, and I love that you guys are encouraging that and fostering it. So sorry.
That's our goal. No, that's our goal. Let's
wrap it up.
Definitely. All right. Go ahead, Desiree.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us tonight with Scranton Talks, talking with Tony Susi, and we're going to be showing Johan in just a moment. We have wonderful events coming up, and be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram to stay up to date, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to see any of our previous talks that we've done. The Independent Film Creative Hub is here for you, here to help filmmakers reach their potential in becoming successful creative artists. Be sure to visit our website, www.ourcreativehub.com. and join our directory. It's free to sign up, and it's free for you. And we're on, we have a podcast. We are on Apple Podcasts and Spotify with our Talks.
I forgot about our podcast, Desiree. Yes. Everything that you see here, we do put it on YouTube. We'll try to put it on Instagram, IGTV, ECTV now, which is amazing. So we're pretty much trying to reach everything. And if we can have it just on audio while you're driving, that's even better. Soon we'll probably have billboards around, so you never know when you're gonna see us. But just remember, we do everything here for free. I mean, we try to keep it free for our filmmakers as far as the content goes, just to make sure that we keep going. But it's a lot of it's a group effort. But thank you again, and Tony, thank you so much for kicking off our ECTV number 4 Scranton Films.
Awesome.
Scranton Talks show. Thank you so much. All right, we're gonna show that.
Cool.
Beginning in February of 2020, a group of documentary filmmakers began to follow outsider artist Johan Alberto Giorgetti Divisi for 6 months while he created 3 key pieces of art to debut to the world in his self-proclaimed comeback show.
It's been 5 years since Johan was the darling, the rising star of the fine art world. It's been at least 4 years since he's had any kind of show anywhere in the world. So since this was his self-proclaimed comeback show, we definitely had to film it. We had to, show his process, show his mentality, show his thinking, and we had to just film that process,
Mr. Bailey, why you not build into your wall like I asked? It said hang my painting on exterior wall.
It is the only space available.
Only space available? Well, if we just build into your wall, like I say,
we can't afford an interior wall.
We can afford an interior wall. What kind of 2-bit 3-bit museum cannot afford to build interior wall.
No, we can't afford to show your paintings and build an interior wall.
Lie.
So, what do you think this show? Are you excited about it?
Oh, we're extremely excited. No, we're ecstatic to have had Johan choose our place for his comeback. He is a true genius.
You're gonna label as a genius. Wow, that's
There's no question. Anyone in this field knows that that's exactly the word that should apply to him. There are not enough superlatives to describe his work.
starting this documentary about Johan. It would, I figured it'd get weird, but I not in my wildest dreams did I think it'd get as weird as it got. Hopefully something good comes of it. I don't know. It could turn out terrible. So, Johan, tell us a little bit about your beginnings. How did you start?
How did I start? Well, how does anyone start? You first your baby, you grow up a little bit, you start drawing on walls and house. Mother and father never liked that. So you took with crayons, with pencil, marker, and you try to recreate shape. It all come together.
What do you consider art in your life? Like, what is it to you?
What's everything? Art is it's like breathe. It's like breathing, you know. Art is it's a modicum of expression, as you say. It's the only way to truly get out what you're trying to do. It is release from world.
You know, then about halfway through, as it progressed, it just got crazy. You know, it got really intense at times. It started off simple enough, but then it got really, really, really intense. You want to cut and do a second? Hello. So
all right.
So
he agreed to let you see them.
Yeah, really? And so could I come? Like, where is it? At his studio?
No, not now. They're like in a storage unit across town or something. He said he'll meet you there in like 10 o'clock tonight, and he'll show you. Do you have a pen to write down the directions?
Yeah. What's the? Hang on. You're saying?
Address? There's no address. I have directions. Draw a map. It'll be easier.
What kind of place doesn't have like a proper address? I literally had to draw the map on the map. Who does that?
Excuse me, are you trying to tell me what to do? Thank God I have no idea what I'm doing. Hello.
Excited.
I'm excited too. I'm excited to show you. Finally.
It's been a long time. What's with the toilet paper?
It's nothing. Come on.
Okay.
It's just around the corner here.
Okay. What are we gonna be seeing here?
Hey, it's the grand finale. It's gonna be special.
So your sister says she likes it.
Yeah, we worked on it many years. It's the magnum opus, they say. Hopefully community liked. I don't know. No.
I'm just glad we can see it.
I gotta say, well.
Don't show any more.
Yes, yeah. I mean, you can see it. You can see it. Yeah, you can see it. I don't know. It's too early for that.
It's too early to put it on the camera.
Okay. You could see. You could lay eyes on.
But I mean, come on, we can film, right?
No film. No film. No.
But what do you mean, no film?
No film. No, you could see.
Wait. it was utterly ridiculous. We got right up to the door, and he wouldn't let us film. But I tell you, it was some of the best pieces of art I've ever seen in that tiny little storage unit. It was certainly his best work. There wasn't anything that he did that was better. Yeah, but he just wouldn't let us film it yet. Such it is with artists. He wouldn't let us film it yet. And if that wasn't weird enough, you know, immediately after that, it got even weirder. Yeah. Oh yeah, the walks. Yeah, the walks were a big part of his process. It was on one of those walks that it got weird and violent. And quite frankly, it was a bit terrifying on one of those walks.
I know the artwork. I know. We'll get there. You wait until you see that it's going to be like something never.
I don't
think. Okay, okay. Don't look now. But men in car across my shoulder been following us for the past 14 minutes.
That car?
No, it's not that. You're not very subtle man, are you, Mr. Tom?
I mean, I'm not. Who do you think it is?
Oh, jeez.
Ah.
Oh, jeez.
Hey,
Oh,
wait.
Stop. No, stop. Oh, stop.
He was missing for 132 hours, 5.5 days. And we couldn't go to the authorities because we didn't know what kind of shady business he was involved with. You know, the whole thing just didn't make any sense, you know. And then we got a phone call just out of the blue when we didn't expect it.
Johan began to realize that his show of shows might be delayed.
Yeah, so little hiccup. Not gonna be open on time, but we should be open in a few weeks' time. It's nothing. It's happened all the time, but no, it should be nothing. It's fine.
As of the recording and completion of this documentary, the final pieces of art are still not finished. The show did not open. The artist is missing. Again, he just vanished. This time, no one knows why.
I don't know if I have a film. I mean, there's barely a narrative there. I mean, who wants to watch a fine art documentary when you never see the fine art? I don't think I would, but who knows? You know, it could work out. You know, I mean, maybe that'll be the thing that's different about this one. Nope, så det är